Hello, guys. This is Frederick from Opeth, and we are about to release a new album called Last Will and Testament.
Beautiful, Frederick. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. I'm actually hungover because I went out with our guitar tech was here from the UK last night, and we went for curries and beers.
Harry's a kid.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dangerous night, dangerous combination.
Yeah, we had one shot. I tried to stay away from the shot. We had one tequila shot, which was a bad decision. But it was fun. So yeah, life goes on.
It does indeed. As you mentioned, bro, Opeth released your 14th studio album, The Last Will and Testament, on October the 11th. Like, it's only about 3 weeks away now, mate. Like, how you feeling about it?
Well, it's exciting times to see how the album's going to be received, and we do a lot of interviews right now, and so far it seems, talking to journalists, like people really dig it, and of course we released 2 tracks, paragraph 1 and paragraph 3 now, and the reception is, I would say, quite overwhelming, and that makes us happy, of course. But the first criteria is, when we do an album, that we feel 100% happy with it. And in this case, we do.
Yeah, right, it's the start. So could you tell us a bit more about the album from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it?
Well, I think it's a good, it kind of assembles the old Opeth and the more proggier Opeth, last 4 albums kind of thing, in a more restless, compressed direction, and also step forward, I think. The songs are slightly shorter, but they have more ingredients than ever. Like a little bit like the modern day society, even though the theme of the album takes place in the 1920s, which is apparently quite some time ago. But when you listen to it, like if you listen to Blackwater Park, certain sections are dwelled upon quite long, and that's different with this album. There's quite a lot of action. It's action-packed album, but I mean, not in a hysterical way. There is also what's a big part of Opeth sound. You have the kind of the yin and yang thing. You have a really heavy section, then you have something more melancholic, beautiful-ish type of foresty sound as well.
Along those lines, mate, like the press release calls it your darkest and heaviest record that you've made in decades. Would you agree with that?
I love that. Yeah, it is really dark, and that was one of the goals, to make it really dark. But it's also at moments really beautiful, I think. But beautiful can be beautiful in a dark way as well. But it's quite evil sounding, yeah. And yeah, we like that.
So when you say that it was one of your goals, mate, like, do you guys, before you go into the album process, do you sit down and make a list of goals that you want to achieve or things that you want to do with the album, or does that sort of more come as you're going?
I think it kind of comes as it goes. Of course, the direction of the album is, usually Mikael says, "Oh, this is going to be the most darkest album ever." That's the common thing, and to a certain point, I think we achieved that, But I think when we're in the work in progress, we just focus on one song at a time.
Yeah.
Just try to do the best of it, and then not maybe necessarily looking at all the songs at once. Just take one thing at a time, basically.
Yeah. Now, there's a beautifully unique conceptual story running through the album as well. Like you mentioned before, that it's set in the 1920s, but there's a lot more going on than that, man. Can you run us through it briefly?
Well, it takes place after World War One, like a quite decadent time people are celebrating, and it's basically the Last Will and Testament is about this patriarch father, narcissist guy, very rich. It's about he's revealing stuff in his life in this testament that his children's, who's going to inherit, don't know about.
Right, yeah.
That could be different love affairs and new siblings that they don't know about.
Oh.
So it's basically three children, the twins, and then you have a daughter who has like a skeleton disease. That the actual patriarch, he had a love affair with a maid, one of the maids, and that's that daughter.
Okay.
So we have, yeah, it's a bit messy story, or I mean, it has a lot of twists and turns. So the testament and will is not like just a testament where you're gonna inherit. It has a lot of poetry, and also it reveals a lot of side stories through on. And I mean, the album is 7 paragraphs, which is the testament. And then the last track is the only one with the title, A Story Never Told, which is actually a letter from this girl who suffers from polio that the patriarch had with the maid. So this is the letter from the maid, long time after, revealing something that not even the patriarch was aware of. Wow. So there's a really twist in the storyline. If you want to dig into it, I won't reveal it because that will probably, I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah. But people who are interested, they can dig deeper into it. I think, I'm not sure, but the special edition vinyl will have like a printed testament in it, so you can read it like a testament and will.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. And it's the first like out and out full concept record that you guys have ever made. So why did you decide that this was the right time in your career to actually do something like that?
Well, the idea came from Mikael, and we knew about it in the beginning, and the story of the concept was morphing all along during the writing process of the music. So I mean, the story was crystallized like a month before or a couple of weeks before we went into the actual studio. But the concept idea was there from the get-go. But I think, I mean, Opeth has done the Still Life was a concept album, and My Arms, Your Hers. But this time around, it's more for real. Like this concept is really thought through. It has more depth and more thought put into it, basically.
Yeah. Now, this is nothing really that new for Opeth, but on this album, I think you've gone to the next level with it. Like the use of atmospherics and moods that's created throughout those 8 songs, it's amazing, mate. Like how difficult is it to achieve that sense of foreboding, I guess, that you get through there with just music?
Yeah, I mean, as a guitar player, I can only focus on one riff at a time.
True.
Yeah, but it's really great to play with a person like Mikael and the rest of the guys as well, because he really puts the musicians on it. He likes to challenge us all, the way he writes stuff, and he has a very unique way of writing riffs and rhythms. The beat could be straight, but there's so much polyrhythmical things beneath it that when you listen to it, it takes me a while to get the riffs into my DNA.
Okay.
And talking about the solos, that's kind of my creative part, which on this album I did them on my own, and I put a lot of thought into them. Like on Encounter, the previous album, I improvised most of them.
Okay.
With Mikael. This time around, Mikael just sent it to me, and I did it on my own, and which was fun. I tried to raise the game and improve as a player, and like everyone in the band, every album there is an ambition to raise the bar, both musically as a unit, but also as individual players,
Yeah. Now, speaking of Mikael, mate, like he's actually he's brought back these death metal growls on this album for the first time since Watershed in 2008. Like, was that something that you sat and planned before going into the album, or did it just happen and you ran with it?
Well, we noticed that he kind of liked it a lot more because we do play all the old stuff live, and he does the growl. We've been doing that apart from one tour we did after Heritage. We did one tour without the growls, which was a bit of a controversy, but it felt natural this time around, and it was not bringing it back just to as a sales thing, it served a purpose this time around, especially with the concept album, because it is one of the voices of this patriarch, the father.
Yeah.
And also the clean vocals, and also Ian Anderson, who does narrations on the album, is also voice of the father. Even Joey Tempest, who sings a little bit, is also voice of the father. So, I mean, but for me, it's a big part of the Opeth legacy to have the growls back, and I'm very happy about it. But I know how Mikael works. If we would have told him you have to bring the growls back, then he would do the total opposite. So that's the way he works, you know. It doesn't come from him. He doesn't like to be pushed on. Exactly, he hates that, and I know that because I've been playing with him for soon 18 years, and I was just like, maybe it will happen, but I'm going to be quiet. And it happened, and I was very happy about it.
Hey, patience does pay off sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, this is also your first album with I hope I get his name right, Walteri as a drummer.
Yeah.
What did he bring to the overall sound of the album?
He brought a lot. I mean, he's been working out great. We did 3 tours with him before we started working on the album, and he just nailed everything. He has the entire spectra, like extreme metal drummer, but he also has the what do you say, the fingertip feel for more the jazzier, proggier parts. Even though he's 30 and we're like soon 50s. Actually, I've turned 50. But yeah, he really has the entire spectrum. And I don't think it's an easy task to be a drummer in Opeth, because there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with this new album. The drums are super complex, really. And he told us if he would have only gotten a month of time to learn this album, he wouldn't have been able to do it. So he was practicing for 6 months.
Wow.
Doing one song at a time. And I think really Mikael, he creates the drum patterns when he writes the songs. He's really picky when he does the demos, and they sound like almost like albums. But luckily enough, after we recorded the album, it sounded more earthy and organic and more human, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
When the rest of us is putting our skills or whatever into it, you know. But Valtteri, he just nailed everything. The first track he recorded in the studio was paragraph 3, and the first take was just there. But of course, as a drummer, he hears stuff we won't hear, so he'll another one. But yeah, I mean, and also live, he like the old stuff with the really fast double kick drums. It's so even the way he plays it. It doesn't sound like somebody's pouring out a bag of potatoes on the ground, you know. It's just
That's a great analogy. Love it. All right, Frederick. Well, thanks very much for your time tonight, mate. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. The Last Will and Testament is out on October the 11th. It's fascinating storyline, fascinating concept, sensational music, mate. So best of luck with it. I hope it does well.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you, and thanks for talking to me.